from the Sous Sherpa earlier this week that there would be a leaders' declaration adopted, President Ramaphosa giving the indication that that is likely to happen as soon as tomorrow. Let's bring in SABC News specialist correspondent Sophie Mokoena, still with me here at Nasrec Expo Center, the SABC's nerve center, if you will, for our coverage of the G20 Leaders Summit. Sophie, so there it is, confirmed as we were told it would happen in the week, despite protest from the United States. We're hearing a declaration within the next 24 hours will be adopted.
Well, we heard it earlier on SABC around lunchtime when we got the news that the stream that's dealing with the declaration that is led by the Sous Sherpa,
Kolisa
Mabongo, supported by the DG, Zain Dango, and of course the Minister of International Relations. The draft is ready, and therefore it looks like the President is confident that his counterparts will support it because he has now looked at this declaration, this draft. And also him saying now, behind closed doors now, the DG is going to brief the leaders of Africa who are there. And I suspect he will take them through the progress made in terms of that declaration. And of course, that has been a work that was being done by the Department of International Relations, Kolisa Mabongo, the Sous Sherpa, and then the Sherpa, Zain Dango, and the Minister, Ronald Lamola, working very hard, supported by other officials from other departments, including the presidency.
Let's speak to the significance then of South Africa as chairperson of the 2025 G20 leaders meeting, being able to get a level of consensus where ultimately we're now looking at a leaders declaration due possibly within 24 hours or less.
Well, I think South Africa will be relieved and happy that they've reached this stage. And the work of South Africa in the capacity of the presidency of G20 is almost complete. It was a lot of work, the whole year, different meetings. And as I pointed out again, the body language speaks volume in a sense that I think the president is sensing relief. But the work starts now, where the former Finance Minister Trevor Manuel's report has recommended that South Africa, the Minister of Finance, must lead in mobilizing for support of that report that was looking at economic situation in Africa and what can be done. And therefore, the conference that's coming, the borrowing conference, the borrowers conference, it's a big one, where South Africa again next year is going to host another big international conference where your IMF, your World Bank, and other financial institutions will gather under one roof. And high on the agenda will be, how are you helping the developing countries and the poorer countries? The other important issue, the finance track, I'm going back there. The president saying that the declaration on debt has been adopted by this group that's dealing with finance track. And that's what the Minister of Finance in an exclusive interview with SABC told us.
It also lines up, Sophie, with what you heard from the former Minister of Finance, Trevor Manuel, in fact, when you spoke to him 2 days ago about the direction we were likely to go.
Exactly, exactly. Him saying the G20 is now too broad, but still don't drop the ball as it relates to its core mandate. And that report outlines the challenges, particularly for the African continent, and what needs to be done. And I think him making an appeal at that time when he was presenting the report to the president, that the finance minister, the current finance minister, because it was commissioned by the current finance minister, must carry on now, bring together Africa. And I was hoping that this will happen in February next year during the African Union annual summit. But here is the president already engaging his counterparts to say, there's a report, guys, we have to take this report serious and ensure that we implement. So behind the scenes, these issues will be really debated. And when I spoke about a former diplomat who's now the president, the Namibian president, who has got experience in negotiations, these African countries, behind closed doors at this meeting, they have capacity to come up with something that can put Africa at the center.